Hey, what's up everybody, Retro Gaming Guy here. Today in this video we're going to dive in and check out the tiniest handheld video game console I've ever laid eyes on. This is the Anbernic RG NANO. So we're going to unbox this, we're going to tour what comes on the stock micro SD card that comes preloaded, ready to go on this handheld, and then we're going to check out the performance and see what we have here in this super small, tiny, little handheld. So let's dive into it and see what we've got. Alright, so here we have our RG Nano. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Inside here you can see we have a user manual. We'll go ahead and actually take this out. This should be our power supply. And we'll open this up just to double check, make sure. Alright, so we have a audio connection cable right here. Over here we have our Type-C to USB charging cable. So I'm going to go ahead and set those aside. And let's take a look at the actual console itself. So peel this out of here. Really nice protective foam casing here. Here we have a little, looks like a keychain. We could actually put this on. Let's see how this clasps. All right, so we could easily slide that onto a book bag or something like that. Not that I think that that would probably be the best place to actually connect this, but let's see what we've got here. All right, so this looks really sharp. This actually has some decent weight to it, I'm surprised. And I mean that in a good way. It doesn't feel cheap by any means. All of this is, we have a nice metallic finish here, but it is all metal, not cheap plastic. Buttons feel nice, obviously very small, but D-pad actually feels really nice too. Check out how it rolls, just kind of hitting those diagonal sort of directions on there. Feels really great. Definitely small buttons, but they are raised up quite a bit. Let's see if we can get an angle there. You can see how high they actually sit on here. So it is really easy to actually hit these. Then we'll of course have start, select, ST for start, SE for select. And up here we actually have shoulder buttons, so L and R. I'm not sure how well that'll... Actually, surprisingly, that doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. Really impressive there. So I'm not seeing, up here is our charging connection. Speakers down there. Do we have a micro SD? We do have a micro SD card right here. Interested to see the capacity of this. So let me see if I can grab a pen over here. And I'll see if we can just eject that, because it is recessed in, which is a good thing. We don't want to accidentally eject that during gameplay. So this is 128 gigabytes. That's actually pretty impressive. I was expecting this to be like a 32 or 64 at the most. All right, and you can hear how it just clicks right back into place. So we're going to, let me clear all this out. And this would actually connect, where would this connect now? Right here. So you just put it right through there if you wanted. Make this into a little keychain. I'm not going to do that though. This feels really durable, but I don't really want to test it like that. So let's hold down our power button, which is over here on the right hand side. Typically 2 to 3 seconds should do it. There we go. All right, guys, so here we have our RG Nano from Anbernic fully booted up. So we can see up at the top, we have a couple different options. We have applications over here, so we can go in here to clock. We can go into input tester, a couple other additional options. We can also go with our right shoulder button up here at the top to emulators. That's where we're going to find all of our game collections. Now, if we continue from there, we have media, so media player, music, and then over here we have all of our settings, but we're going to dive into the emulators here and take a tour of what is offered on here with the stock cards. So we have Game Gear, we have Game Boy, we have Game Boy Advance, we have Game Boy Color. If we continue down, we have Sega Master System, Atari Lynx, Sega Mega Drive, Nintendo Entertainment System, we have Neo Geo Pocket, PC Engine, Poke Mini, PS1. We also have RetroArch over here. We have Super Nintendo, and we have WonderSwan. So that is all of our different collections. And we'll dive into some of these so we can see the layout within. So let's go into Game Gear here. And you can see everything is listed alphabetical order. Now, what's kind of strange here is we don't have a consistent count throughout. So you can see there is numbers over here on the left-hand side, but they do seem to disappear after we go down the list quite a bit. So there you can see they disappear. So we don't have an exact count for any of these collections, which is unfortunate, but I can say they are all very stacked. We have lots and lots of titles in here. So we're going to back out. We back out with start. I'm used to hitting B to back out, but start is going to be our back here. All right, so if we back out of Game Boy here, we can go into Game Boy Advance. Also very stacked. I believe that there are, some of these actually do have a count. So this one actually does, and it says 889 titles for Game Boy Advance. So massive collection here. All your favorites can be found in here. And one really cool thing, I know I'm going to get the question, there's tons of Pokemon games in here. So right off the bat, I think we all know the high cost of what Pokemon games go for like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, etc. So if you got this, you get all of those included on here, which is really cool. So we can go into Game Boy Color, same deal. This one also does not have the consistent count throughout. It does seem to disappear on there, but still tons and tons of games. And here you can see we have some Pokemon titles right up here at the top. So it seems that the ones that are numbered like this are the most popular titles. So I don't know if they did that intentionally or what the deal is there, but we'll hit start and back out. Master System, let's dive into Master System here. And you can see we start off at the top. We have Sonics in here, Golden Axe, Predator 2, tons of really popular titles. And then as we scroll down, we get away from those numbered ones and we dive into everything in alphabetical order. So absolutely stacked within here. I don't have an exact count on how many titles, but again, very large collections. And that makes sense given the fact that we're dealing with a 128 gigabyte micro SD card in here. So PlayStation, another stacked collection. Pokemini, awesome as well. But let's take a look at PlayStation. If we dive in here, we have tons of Crash titles. We have Crash Team Racing, Resident Evil, Medal of Honor, tons and tons of games on here. You can see just scrolling through, I mean, we're going for several pages here and we're still in the A's. We're just getting to the B titles now. So tons and tons of stuff in here. What else? We have Wonder Swan, Super Nintendo. Take a look at Super Nintendo. Same deal, I believe. I don't think we have an exact count on this. No, it loops around. But still, absolutely stacked within here. And let's take a look at NES. Then we will start diving into some games. So where is NES? Should be up here. There we go. NES right there. Go ahead and launch that. This one also does not have that count, but still tons and tons of games here. And you can see as I scroll through it, the list just goes on and on and on. So really amazing to see how many titles are actually included in here. But I want to see how they actually play. I want to see what the performance is like on here. So let's dive into some gameplay demos. And I'm going to try to stick to, let's go into some PlayStation titles. Let's go into some Game Boy Color titles. And we'll probably go into like Master System, play Sonic or something like that as well. So let's check it out and see what we've got going on. All right, so while we have the RG Nano booted up, we don't have any menu reset buttons or volume control buttons externally on our actual handheld. So when we jump into games, what we need to do if we want to adjust volume, or we want to adjust brightness, or we want to save or load games, or even adjust the aspect ratio or exit games, what we need to do is we need to hit select and we need to hit our power button together. That's going to open up this menu right here, and I'll actually show you guys the different options. So here we have volume. If we go down, we have brightness, we have save, we have load, we have aspect ratio, which I have set to stretched right now, and then we also have exit game. So if we want to adjust the volume, all we do is we select A, and we can bring the volume down by going D-pad left, or we can bring it up by going D-pad right. Same exact thing for brightness. Once you know what you want, so I want to max this out, I'll hit A, and now I can go through my different options. So now if I was just playing Sonic here and I wanted to exit this, I do the same thing. I go down here to exit, I'll hit A, and I'll confirm it with A again. That's going to bring me out of that game and back out to my main menu here within the last collection I was in. So I was just playing Master System, and here you can see we are back out, so we can change games. We could jump into Sonic the Hedgehog 2 if we want to, and it's going to give me the option to resume game because I was just playing this not too long ago, or if we go up we can hit new game. So I'm going to hit new game here and say I want to go out and adjust the volume now. I just tapped select and the power button, and here I am back into that same options menu where I can go through volume, brightness, save, load, aspect ratio, and exit game once again. So I'm going to exit, but that shows you exactly what you need to do to make those changes. All right, guys, pleasantly surprised by what we got here, and in all honesty, I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought this was going to be a cheap sort of novelty item, you know, just something you can clip onto your backpack, take with you on the go, and it very much is that, but it's super durable, super high quality. The performance on here certainly packs a punch. We have PlayStation games, which I didn't expect to actually work. Not only do they work, they are absolutely out of this world in terms of performance. There's no audio delays, there's no screen tearing, there's no hiccups in gameplay. It's just absolutely perfect in every way. And the titles that were on here are very easy to actually play. Now, we are limited with the fact that there's no trigger buttons on here, so there's going to be certain titles that I think are just going to be too awkward to play with the setup that we have on this handheld, like Medal of Honor, for example, for PlayStation. It's loaded onto the micro SD card, so you can launch into it. It's a smooth experience. The only downside is the controls are just really awkward. That's a game where it's just a complicated sort of combination of controls, and I just don't think that we have that. So there's going to be some titles in here that you can play, but you can't play well because of the limitations of the controls and the layout being so compact. So that is one that just wasn't a fun experience for me, just again, because we're so limited with the surface on here, as well as we don't have the trigger buttons, we don't have the analog sticks and all of that. But Crash Team Racing, on the other hand, super easy to get into. Really a fun game to play as well, and it is one of those more advanced titles. Now, everything prior to PlayStation, pretty much everything in general that is included on the micro SD card actually works extremely well. So we don't have that issue where, you know, the manufacturer is loading games on here that, you know, look really appealing, but when you try to launch into them, it's not a good experience. That's not the case. Everything performs perfect on here. I particularly enjoyed Game Boy because that's a simpler sort of gameplay experience. And I think that lines up obviously very well with the layout that we have in terms of controls here and just the overall sort of setup of the RG Nano. Now, high quality across the board. The controls on here, they are raised up, and I tried to show you guys that when we first unboxed this. The fact that they are raised up so high from the surface just makes it really easy where you can actually hit those regardless of how much bigger your thumb is than the actual buttons. I didn't struggle like I thought I would to hit everything, and my fingers actually line up really nicely up here on the top for the shoulder buttons. So if you're playing a game that has use of those, you can see here, it actually is a very comfortable sort of feel to it. It doesn't look like it would be when you're holding this just because it's so darn small, but it actually is just really comfortable to play. I was really shocked by that. Excellent response in the buttons, as well as the shoulder buttons on top. D-pad is absolutely phenomenal on here. It just scrolls and rolls perfectly, especially when you're going on those diagonal sort of navigations. It's not just one of those where up, down, left, and right perform extremely well, but those in-between sort of directions, which the fact that we're using this as also an analog stick in a way, the fact that it does do that is absolutely exceptional. So video on here is great. The display, super bright. You can adjust brightness. Same thing with audio on here. Volume controls, very easy to use. Volume gets really loud, no distortions or anything like that. So just an absolute home run and a pleasant surprise from Anbernic. They've been making some amazing handhelds over the last few years. They seem to get better and better, and the quality here and attention to detail, out of this world. Really impressed by this. It does come with that little keychain attachment. I personally wouldn't use it with that just because I'd be afraid that it's going to break. Even though it is metallic, it is super durable. I just don't want this on the back of like a backpack. I wouldn't send my kids to school with this by any means, just in fear that it would end up getting broken. It's still glass for the display screen, so kind of use that at your own risk, I would say. But absolutely amazing. Battery life on here, very good as well. I don't know the full range on the battery, but I played this for about 2 hours and the battery life was still very much, almost full in fact. So no issues there. Really don't have enough nice things to say about this. So home run here from Anbernic. Thumbs up. I'll put a link in the description of this video as well as right here at the top of your screen. So if you want some additional information, go ahead and click that link. Take a look at what they are selling it for, where you can get it from, all that good stuff. I'm not going to quote prices here because prices do seem to fluctuate quite a bit these days, but click the link, see for yourself exactly what they're going for when you see this video. That's going to do it for today though. If you enjoyed the content today, please give me a thumbs up on the video. It's a huge help to me here on YouTube. And of course, hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop for all future videos right here on the Retro Gaming Guy YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.